Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the INT Majin Vegeta, who is the new Saiyan Day DFE for 2022. Now of course, Majin Vegeta is also the first 200% lead for Global Dokkan, so that's something pretty interesting to take a look at. He leads the Majin Buu or Vegeta's family saga with HP attack and defense of 170%, plus an additional HP attack and defense of 30% for characters who also belong to the Gifted Warriors category. So essentially, every Kid Trunks and every Vegeta unit that falls under the Vegeta's family or Majin Buu saga will receive a 200% leader skill. On his super attack he raises attack and defense for one whole turn, and on his passive skill he activates an entrance animation when there is a Trunks on the team at the start of his turn, and he reduces damage received by 30% for the rest of the battle when there is a Trunks on his team. It's nice that it's only Trunks characters, not just Kid Trunks characters, but it's still pretty limiting. He has attack and defense of 180%, plus an additional attack and defense of 50% when performing a super attack. He also gains an additional defense of 50% with 3 or more key spheres obtained, and reduces damage received by 20% with 6 or more key spheres obtained. He gains an additional attack of 88% and randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to INT type key spheres when HP is 88% or less. Overall, he's got a pretty nice passive. Obviously, if you have a Trunks on the team, he can have up to 50% damage reduction, which is pretty good. He does gain a large amount of super defense on super, which means if you are going to place him in the first slot, you are best advised to do so if there's a Trunks on the team. He has an active skill, which can be activated after he has received attacks 6 or more times in battle, and that active skill will guarantee him critical hits within the turn in which the active skill is activated, greatly raises his attack and causes mega colossal damage to all enemies, and stuns them while sacrificing 18% HP. So pretty interesting overall, a pretty nice mixture of, like tools and abilities that he has. Guaranteed crits for one turn is nice, but I think overall the best build for him is still going to be crit. You'll go additionals, but raising defense for one turn isn't really a big deal for him, and having crit on some of his really nice attack stats he can have is pretty good. In terms of links, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, Saiyan Pride, Royal Lineage, Over in a Flash, Supreme Power, and Fierce Battle. And also he is on Resurrected Warriors, Majin Buu Saga, Pure Saiyans, Vegeta Family, Worthy Rivals, Super Saiyan 2, Final Trump Card, All Out Struggle, Connected Hope, Corroded Body and Mind, Gifted Warriors, and Beyond Super Saiyan. Now on Pure Saiyans, Worthy Rivals, Final Trump Card, well kind of you can them, and Corroded Body and Mind, you're not going to be able to get his full passive because you can't have a Trunks. As you can see here, we get the cool intro animation activating, which is really awesome, and obviously just something very cool for Vegeta overall. The main thing is, if you don't get the Trunks on his team, you're losing quite a large portion of his defense. So for Vegeta, honestly it's advised that you have a Trunks on the team whenever possible. It can be any Trunks and it can be any slot on the team. They don't have to start in his turn or anything like that. They don't have to pair with him or anything at all. You just need to have one on the team. So whatever team you're running, if you can have a Trunks, make sure you have a Trunks if you are taking on hard content. We'll look at the difference, but in terms of every other number there is no difference. So Vegeta will have good defense, good attack, everything like that. Without a Trunks, he just won't have that 30% damage reduction. Otherwise you're relying on the 6 orbs to provide the 20% damage reduction, which is still decent but just isn't as good, obviously, as having 30% damage reduction to begin. But that being said, Vegeta still looks pretty good, and we'll take a look at how he does here overall. I think Vegeta is an excellent unit with or without Trunks, and I think you can use him in a variety of ways, and I think he's designed for a lot of content. So for me, very good unit overall, and I really like what his skill set is and what he brings to the table. I think he's good for ESBR and SBR. I think he's good for long form events. If you're going to have a Trunks on the team, you'll be fine. He's still good anyway. You just need to prioritize orbs with him. Now, something that is important, his best linking partner, who's on every category team with him, the Tech Vegeta that transforms into Majin Vegeta, he also requires orbs, but because Vegeta generates orbs, it's possible to give both of them the orbs if needed, which could be very, very good. If they both get orbs, they'll be very, very good. Obviously, 6 orbs, for the Tech Vegeta gives him the ability to guard, which is very, very good. And the INT one, 6 orbs obviously gives him a whole bunch of damage reduction and additional defense, etc. Here we're at over 200k, which is very, very good. We do have some support from the Dabura, but we'll see a pretty hefty attack stat here, I can imagine, which will be a very nice showing from Vegeta. Now, these kind of numbers you're seeing here won't really change regardless of having a Trunks or not, because Trunks only provides damage reduction, he doesn't affect any of the other numbers. So for the most part, you should be seeing pretty good numbers like this. This is a 2 dupe Vegeta, so obviously he will be hitting quite a bit harder than a 55%, etc. But still, it's nice to get a good indication of what Vegeta can really do. Now, there has been some discussion about what the best way to build Vegeta is. Now, there is no right or wrong way. People are welcome to build their units however they wish. You can build your units however you think they work best. And honestly speaking, that is more than fine. It is really entirely up to you. But for me, I definitely think criticals with a mix of additional, but mainly focused on criticals. Go full criticals from the hidden potential system and then give yourself the leeway to select what you believe is correct from the equipment. But I definitely think mainly criticals. You can hit really nice attack stats, 4.75 millions, which are really, really good, obviously. And I just think it's a waste to lose those attack stats. Now, if he attacks twice, it's really good, obviously, in the turn where he's guaranteed criticals. That's obviously very, very good. By the way, we are looking at a pretty decent amount of defense here. Remember, you need to get the 3 orbs before you'll see the additional defense activate. So we'll get these 6 orbs here, and you can see Vegeta's at 183k. When we get the 6 orbs, his defense will shoot up. It'll go up, and then it'll be over 200 now, which is very, very good. So as I was saying, in terms of build, definitely crits are probably the way that I see Vegeta being the most useful. I just find that Vegeta is probably the best with criticals, maximizing those big attack stats. Double attacks or multiple super attacks are very good in the turn where he has guaranteed criticals. But that doesn't necessarily, it's one turn, and so it's not really a good payoff. Raising his defense is also pretty nice, especially when he has 50% damage reduction. But honestly, after supering with his 50% damage reduction, you shouldn't really see any big issues in terms of Vegeta's defense. Like, yes, he will possibly take damage from a lot of units, but for the most part, he'll be fine. Even some of the newer, really hard content, like Vegeta will still hold up really, really fine. The important thing is to make sure that he tanks within the second slot if you really want to maximize his damage, or if there's no attacks before he attacks. Remember, he gains quite a large amount of defense upon super, so you want to try and avoid the taking of super attacks or anything before he activates that additional defense. He'll also only activate his 20% damage reduction, even if you get the 6 orbs upon super as well. Not entirely certain why it always works like that, but that is how it works. So he definitely does thrive in the second slot, but honestly he'll be more than fine in the first slot as long as you have that 30% damage reduction from the Trunks anyway. Now, it's important to note, if you do manage to use his active skill, that he will trigger his defense raise as well, which makes him really, really good in the first slot as well. So that's just entirely up to you. But of course, we're trying him on a team here without a Trunks, just so you can get an idea of how that is. You can see here, this is a rainbow one, looking at 167 or so thousand defense. Remember, no support on this rotation, hadn't got the orbs yet, so the defense will have raised quite a bit there, over 200k again, but there is no 30% damage reduction here. That's going to be your very big difference. That lack of 30% damage reduction is quite noticeable in this kind of situation. So I think, you know, for the most part, you do want to keep like Trunks is on your team when you can. Of course, it's not always possible, so it's just not something that you like. You know, if you can't do it on Corroded Body and Mind, you can't do it. But when you can, or when it's viable, I would definitely suggest doing so. But yeah, it is just one of those things. Like, yeah, sometimes you're just not going to be able to fit a Trunks on, or maybe you just don't have a good Trunks. That's just how these things kind of fly. For the most part, I think he's fine without the Trunks, but getting the 6 orbs in that situation is imperative because of the like need to get that 20% damage reduction, especially in super hard content. You're really going to need that 20%. Vegeta's defense is good, don't get me wrong. I mean, before supering he can have 200k defense, which is very, very impressive, but it is important that you get that 20% damage reduction. Like here we have 214,000 defense. Vegeta still raises defense, like, you know, on top of that, so he gets an additional 50% when performing the super attack, and then we'll raise on top of that by 20%. But like I say, that's good defense, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's enough to hold up in super hard events. Yeah, like we're talking the hardest of the hard, and these are rainbow units. So, well, this is a rainbow unit, so the stats are slightly inflated. But again, we're also not necessarily running him under double 200% leads. So it's a pretty interesting situation. Vegeta, overall, just a very good unit. You can say what you want, people can really talk about certain things, but he's just a very, very good unit. He brings so much to the table, he does so much. He's an exceptional unit, and I mean, yeah, I have no problem with his performance whatsoever. I think he's really great, and I think he brings a lot to the table, and I really like Vegeta. I think he's awesome, and he's got good defense, good attack, utility. You know, his active skill is good, especially in ESBR and SBR against multiple enemies. And yeah, I mean, his conditioning is not that bad. Trunks really affects that damage reduction. Obviously it's quite a large amount. I think if maybe they could have like inversed it, it might have been a bit better. Maybe saying he gets 20% if there's a Trunks on the turn, and then maybe 30% if he gets 6 orbs. Just feels like, yeah, that extra 10% the other direction would have been nice, but it's not the absolute end of the world. He's still more than good enough with or without it. So, and as you can see here, the numbers are really, really reflecting that. You know, he's putting up some really crazy numbers here, rivaling the LR-AGL Majin Vegeta for damage, and that's a really, really good sign. So, yeah, for me, very, very impressed so far with him. I think he's looking really, really solid, and yeah, just super duper happy with how he's doing. So, for me, very impressed with Vegeta, very happy, and yeah, I think if you do have him, be chuffed. You have a very powerful unit with a very good leader skill. You haven't touched on it so much, but it is a 200% leader skill. It is 2 very good categories. Vegeta's family is very strong, Majin Buu Saga very strong, a lot of synergy with gifted warriors. You know, Majin Buu Saga, there's Kid Trunks, Goten, etc. On the Vegeta's family, there's, you know, Trunkses, and there's Vegetas who are gifted warriors, so a lot of good synergy there, and really, really nice kind of mix up, which is great. So yeah, we've got Vegeta, really, really solid. And link wise, yeah, his links are pretty decent. You know, he's got Saiyan Warrior Race, which is a good attack link. Super Saiyan, very common attack link. Saiyan Pride, not so common a link, but a very powerful one. Royal Lineage, which is an okay key link once link leveled. Over in a Flash, which is a very good key link, but just not very common. Supreme Power, which is a Majin Buu Saga unit based link. And Fierce Battle, which is obviously just common amongst, you know, Fierce Battle units. Saiyan Pride is like a Bardock and Vegeta thing for the most part, but it's still a decent link, especially on the Vegeta's family team. As you can see here, he does have some options. Most of them are God Gokus and Super Saiyan 3 units and things like that, but he's got options. His best link unit is the Tech Majin Buu Saga Vegeta. He's going to be his best link buddy overall, but he's got quite a few decent units that he shares, you know, 3 or 4 key links with, which I think is more than fine. You know, he shares 3 or 4 key links with quite a few Vegetas. with a couple Gokus, with a couple Gogetas, things like that. So for the most part, he'll be fine. His real issue is the Corroded Body and Mind team, where obviously he only really has the Tech Vegeta to link to, which is, you know, something that you do just need to be aware of, because yeah, if you don't have that Tech Vegeta, you are missing out on his best linking partner by far. That Tech Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta shares 6 links with him in base form, and then shares 7 links with him in max form, which is obviously very, very good. So yeah, for me, I just think, you know, it is just rather something to be aware of. And yeah, just that Vegeta is a really good link partner for him, so you should try and favor him. But as you can see, he's got plenty of options. It just depends on how you want to roll. Rail Lineage is his only other secondary key link, barring Over and a Flash. So he can suffer from key issues, but he does make int orbs, so hopefully he shouldn't really suffer too much. His only real issue is that him and Tech Vegeta need 6 orbs to really activate their full potential. So if you don't get all those orbs, you will struggle. But that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like or leave a comment, and bye.